Kate Northrup. Oh, I am so excited to have you here on the Move to Millions podcast. How are you today?
I am so good. I'm so happy to be talking to you.
Oh my gosh, I just love you so much. Can we just start there for a second?
I love you too.
Your energy is, I don't even know if I can find the word to describe how you make me feel. Like, I literally came on the Zoom and you were there and you are just a ray of sunshine, and my shoulders just kind of relaxed a little bit.
Love hearing
So
that.
thank you for holding that space for me.
It is an absolute pleasure and honor.
Yes. So take just a quick moment and let everybody know who you are in your own words.
I am a writer.
Mhm.
I've published a couple of books, Money, a Love Story, and Do Less. Writing is my favorite thing, only paralleled with hanging out with amazing people like you. Um, and I teach people how to heal their relationship with money through an embodied approach that prioritizes the nervous system. Yeah, I'm a mom, run my company with my husband. I live in Miami.
Nice, 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 nice. So right off the bat, and as I was thinking about our time together today, and I just told you before we started recording that I don't write questions down. I don't think through. I'm just like, what is popping in at the moment that I am engaged and fully present with you? And of course, I know you work with money, right? I know I love that about you. And there's a couple of things I want you to be able to share with the listeners. But when you just said an embodied approach, my spine, which was already tingling, started to have the hairs on my arms stand on end. And I've got this amazing iceberg that has just come across my life experience in this moment, which to me is an illustration that my spirit is safe and it is in alignment with God. You know, I'm a God girl. And I just love everything about the thought of an embodied approach. So, let's just start there. Let's just double click on embodied approach. What does that mean? If I didn't know what you meant when you said it, what would that mean to me? And what will that mean to our listeners who are hearing this maybe for the first time?
So I was reading two books last night. I started one and realized it was too activating for before bedtime. But I loved it. And then I started a second one, both written by men,
Mhm.
both written by white men. And they both talked about, and I didn't expect this. One book was about money. One book is just like about life. They
Mhm.
both talked about the importance of transcending the body in
Mhm.
order to sort of, one is about money, actually, like
Mhm.
transcending the body and controlling the body. And the
Mhm.
other one talked about like moving past the body in order to be our fullest selves. And I was
Mhm.
just like, WTF? Why would we have a body in our
Mhm.
lives if
If
we're
we have
not
to move
supposed
beyond
to
it.
be in it and
Yeah.
use it? Like, we won't have a body when we die. Like, that's when we can move beyond our body. But
Yeah.
why would we not utilize the incredible pharmacology that's available inside our physiology to feel the fullest versions
Mhm.
of ourselves in this lifetime? And so, an embodied approach to money means using the body
Mhm.
to fuel our abundance, to fuel our wealth, not
Mhm.
only tangibly, but actually, even more importantly, or just alongside it, to fuel the feeling of richness. Because
Mhm.
ultimately, anything we want because we think it's going to make us feel a certain way. It is
Right.
impossible to experience anything in our human incarnation without experiencing it through a body.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And so everything is colored by how does it feel to be in a body? Every emotion is actually a
Yeah.
physical sensation.
Yeah.
Every desire, that desire met, is a physical sensation. Every longing is a longing for a physical sensation. So an embodied approach to money means actually centering the body, using the body
Mhm.
as an important I don't even want to say like ingredient or element. It's sort of like as the central focus of experiencing richness and wealth, and really realizing that every single behavior, right? Like our financial well-being depends on our behavior. And every single behavior we do comes from our body, because it comes from a belief, which comes from a thought, and all of our thoughts are mitigated by our emotions. And every single emotion we have comes from the nervous system, which is kind of like the command center of our body. So your financial reality is mitigated by what's going on in your body. And so that's why I take an embodied approach.
And let me just tell you, like, why I love all of that. And I have all these little notes for all of the little tangents we're going to go on in a few minutes. But when you ask the question based on these two books that the white men read, that were both talking about going beyond your body, I got why they want you to go beyond your body. Because for most people, our body is the source of our lack. It's lodged in us. And so we don't even have capacity for the richness that we are trying to feel, to attempt to bring it into our life experience, right? So I get why they're saying that, but I love, it's almost disruptive, although it's not, but I love the way that we get to richness is to deal with the body, because that's where the lack is, right? So the point at which whomever came here, right? We came here as abundance, pushed out, pulled out, abundance. We meet the world and we are instantly bombarded with lack. Instantly. Like the moment our parents or the doctor smacks us on the booty so we can start crying, lack enters into our lungs.
I mean, don't even get me started on the birth industrial complex, but like even just birth in our country is so rooted in lack and a fundamental mistrust in the body, which is our source of abundance. Just
that. Like I literally, just before I got on to do this interview with you, I was having a conversation with a potential client and we were talking about the goals that she has for her business. And I expressed this to you when I was on your podcast. A big part of my gift is that I can see, like I am a seer of the money, the path to the money, and what's keeping you from the money, right? It's a gift. It's a gift. And as it's a gift, it sometimes is like, oh, I don't know if they're ready for me to tell them what I see and what I feel. And as I was talking with this person, I was like, the money is literally sitting right outside of yourself right now. It's not coming in because you don't have capacity for it, because there is lack that still lives in you. And literally, I watched their face just cover with tears. Because, and I asked, I said, where do you feel it right now? And they said, upper shoulder and mid back. And I know what those things mean, right? And so when you say helping a person use their body to feel wealth, can you give me a practical example? Like, again, not for me, but for them, for those who are listening, so that they can anchor into this and maybe even start to sense where in their body right now lack is lodged and how they might start to use their body to feel the richness of wealth.
Okay, great. So
I just love, because some people won't see the video of this, they'll just hear the audio. I just love that right now, Kate looks like a neon light. Like she is so bright and excited, and she cannot wait to jump in to tell you guys this stuff. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a real life example of something that's going on in my life and a way I'm practicing this right now. Okay, so I have driven a Toyota Prius for 13 years. Not the same one the whole time, but that's like been my vehicle for a number of reasons. I freaking love my car. Okay. Like 3 weeks ago, I was getting in my car and I was like, whoa, it's time for an upgrade. And I was like, how interesting is that? And I just kind of looked at that. I moved from a small town in Maine where like cars are not a thing. And now I live in Miami. It's like everybody is,
right.
They could be living in a 200 square foot apartment, but like they're driving a G-Wagon. So it's just interesting culturally, whatever. So I'm like excavating and I'm like, what's under this desire? Like, what's in there, right? Because it's like never about the actual item.
Right.
It's about a feeling. And I know that. And so I'm like, what is the feeling that I'm craving? So I was driving to the doctor the other day and I was like, well, I'm here in my car. My car is always super clean, thanks to my husband. And like, it's like it's a great experience. However, I was like, okay, well, if I'm thinking about possibly upgrading to a Porsche, I haven't test driven it yet, so I don't know if that's the one, but I'm like, I'm thinking about that. Okay, so look, I'm just going to do my drive as though I am feeling the way that I think it's going to feel to drive a Porsche. So I just like did my drive in my Toyota as though I was driving a Porsche. And it was like a very, it was like sexy. Like there was something, it was like actually a very like turned on drive to the doctor, which is so fun for me. And so then I was like, okay, that's really interesting. Like that's the embodied experience that I'm desiring. So why don't I just give myself that now? That instantly breaks us out of lack because instantly my body is like, oh, cool. I have a desire to feel a certain way. I can feel that certain way right now. I am already everything I want. There is no separation between me and my desires. I can just have that. Now, of course, I pull around the corner off the highway. What two cars are sitting right in front of me? Two Porsches, the exact model that I think I might want, and I was like, okay, hi, God. And so that's like an example in practicality of instead of what I could have done, which is a whole cast of thoughts, limitations, which is who do I think I am?
Right. Why do I need that car? There's
Blah, blah,
nothing
blah.
wrong with this Prius.
What will
It still
people
runs.
think,
Why?
Right? Like it still runs. It runs great. There's not a problem here. Like I walk 95% of everywhere in my life. I barely ever even drive my car. It's like it's blah, 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 blah. What I know that based on the research and the work that I do is that our nervous systems are responsible for how we feel. And our nervous system response is unconscious because it's based on past patterning. And until we decide to make it conscious, right? And so we decide to actively work with it. And so when we have a limiting thought of like, who do I think I am? I can't have that. What will people think of me if I drive a Porsche? What will people think of me if I drive a Toyota? All of it is meaningless, but like, that's where we go. Like, la, 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 where, blah, blah, right? And it's like, all of those thoughts are just my nervous system trying to not experience a new experience. Because according to the nervous system, that which is unfamiliar is unsafe. I've never driven a Porsche before. So according to my nervous system, it's going to try to send out all the emotional experiences and all the limiting thoughts that are going to prevent me from having an expansive experience that I've never had before, because it's just trying to survive. Limbic lizard brain. It's just trying to keep me alive. But anybody listening to this, we have moved beyond survival. We are now in the game of thriving. And so if we're in the game of thriving, we have to find ways to give ourselves permission to feel safe, having new expansive experiences around money and everything else. So that's a game that I play of how can I signal to my body that I am safe and then try on or experience something new. And pleasure is actually an incredible pathway to safety and nervous system healing. So that's why I played my game of pretend of driving to the doctor in my imaginary Porsche to open up. And now I'm in a different energetic frequency and I may call in some new vehicle or something else that is a match to that experience that now feels safe to my body or safer.
I love all of that. I love all of it. And I especially love what you just said, the last thing that you said, that pleasure is a really great way to, you didn't use this word. This is the word I'm going to trick as I heard it, or I'm going to use as I heard it. Pleasure is a great way to trick your nervous system into seeing a new experience as safe.
Yes, because we cannot feel good without first feeling safe. And so If
Mm.
pleasure is available to you, if you are already feeling well-resourced enough to feel good, automatically your body's going to know it's safe. Because if you're being chased by a lion, for example, like there's
Mhm.
not like the pleasure circuits are not available. Your nervous system is sending all energy to fight, flight, freeze, right?
Yeah.
So by the time if you're in the pleasure circuitry, you're automatically in rest, digest, tend, befriend, stay and play.
Yeah.
Like you're automatically in that place
Yeah.
where you are your most magnetic and your smartest and and your best critical thinking and your best problem solving and your
Yeah.
best creativity and your most like connected. All of our best work
Mhm.
that brings in the money,
Mhm.
or all of our best being that brings in the money, is available in parasympathetic nervous system response.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love all of that. I okay, the last thing that you said, which is just going to encapsulate all of this. We can't feel good without first feeling safe.
Yeah.
And giving yourself or allowing pleasure to give you permission to feel safe so that you can have a new experience around whatever it is you desire in that moment. If I know this to be true because I know you, and I'm making this parallel for our listeners, that it's almost like making money, moving money, having money is a game.
It
Yes.
is a game. It's all pretend.
It's all pretend.
I mean, the economy is for sure pretend. We just
Yes,
got off a
absolutely.
90-minute year-end planning session with our financial team, and
Mhm.
the insanity of the tax codes and the shell game and how you move this over there
Right,
and that over there to fall below this threshold so you can save 30 grand or whatever. I'm
right.
like, they make this sound complicated
Yeah.
to keep people out
Right,
of their power.
absolutely. Yeah.
But it's not. If you just
It's
know it's a game, then
right.
you can just play the game.
And here's the thing that I love about that is if we could get people, all of you who are listening right now, to realize that money is really just a game, you would feel pleasure when you thought about money, which would make you feel safe, which would expand your capacity to
Yeah.
allow more of it to flow into your life experience.
Yes.
It would
How
be
can we make it as fun as
as
possible?
fun as possible instead of, oh, I got to pay my bills. Such and such owes me money. I don't have enough money for this. I can't afford that. All the things you say that sends money in the opposite direction. I was having a conversation with one of my mentors the other day, and I just asked him a question. He was, I forget what he was saying, but he was just like, "You and this money, you oversimplify it." And I was like, "But it's really simple." And
You're
he's
like,
like, "It
maybe you
doesn't."
make it too
Right.
complicated.
Yeah, and he was like, "It doesn't work that way." I was like, "It absolutely works that way." And I said, like, "Let's talk about money because my thing is always the way you see money is really about the way you see yourself. Money is literally a mirror for your life experience. And when it's hard to come by money, it's because you are hard on yourself. You don't believe you're worthy. You don't believe you deserve it, and you're living in a lack center that likely wasn't even yours. It was
Yes.
something you inherited because of someone else, and you just took it on as a meaning to be true for you, right?" And I said, "But I want you to let me just make it really practical for you. Tell me the name of the person that you love the most." He's not married, right? And so he gives me a name. And I said, "And so if you were spending time with this person and they kept talking down to you or they kept calling you out of your name, would you keep spending time with them?" And he said, "Absolutely not. I value myself way more than to be around people who would treat me that way." I said, "So what do you think about money?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "Well, since we've been in this conversation, I've heard you say 3 times that's just too expensive." I said, "Do you think money wants to be referred to as expensive? That's like calling money a bitch." He tensed up. Older gentleman. "Well, Darnyelle, it doesn't work that way." I said, Here's what I want you to try." This was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. "So I want you to try. Until we meet again, we meet every other month. Until we meet again, I want you to talk nice to money. I don't want you to say things like, I can't afford that. That's too expensive. Why would anybody spend their money on that? I want you to use words that would make money feel edified and supported in your presence. That's what I want you to do. Will you promise me, and those of you who are listening, you can play this game too, that for the next few weeks, every time you refer to money, you would do it in a way that will be considered respectful, loving, safe, and supportive? Do you make me that promise? He said yes. He calls me yesterday and he says, I don't know what you did. And I'm like, what? It's like, I just got a check in the mail for $50,000 for an estate that I didn't even know I was listed on.
There it is.
I said, well, you can give it to me if you don't know what to do with. No. All I've been doing is being nice to money.
Yeah.
That's
It
all I've been
likes to
doing is
show
being nice
up.
to money.
Yeah.
Then he goes, maybe you are onto something.
Like, it's only the foundation of my entire
Right, of my whole
successful
business and
company.
what I do with people. I had a client who I didn't know this at first, hadn't closed a sale since February. She joined the mastermind at the event, came to the first retreat. You know, I'm starting to work with her. Things still aren't moving. We're on our call maybe 2 weeks ago. And in the call, I can see the block. And so I was like, I just need you to stay after the call is done. It's a group call. I just want to spend a few minutes with her. We tapped. We did 5 rounds of tapping on what she felt. And then I released her. It started as a 9. She got it down to a 2. And I said the same thing I just said to you, and I'm saying to everyone. For the next few weeks, I want you to edify, love on, and respect money. That every time you talk about money, I want you to be loving and appreciative of it. Do you know, Kate, that in the last 2 weeks, she has closed, I think, 3 paying full $25,000 clients after having not closed the sale since February?
That's incredible. But
It
it's
is incredible.
Like, see, that's the
But it's
thing.
not.
It's like, that's actually just scientific, because what you did with her, you know this, but for anybody listening, what you did with her tapping the emotional freedom technique is a nervous system healing tool.
Yes.
It makes your body rewire neural pathways, which changes your emotions and then changes your thoughts, changes your beliefs, and then you do new behaviors, or you shift the way you're showing up. So in a sales call, people are just like, you know what? I'm just gonna sign up with this person, right?
Because
Like,
you make me
it
feel
feels
safe.
good. Exactly.
Your
'Cause you make me
energy
feel safe.
makes me feel safe. And because
Yes.
if I feel safe, then I can do it. Like, listen, y'all,
So good.
it is a game. It is such a game. And if you could understand the game, this is what my next book is all about, by the way. So my next book is called What Would Abundance Do? I have these bracelets. I don't know.
love that question
I know
that
you're
you asked.
you're not a religious person, but there used to be
I'm a
these what
God
would Jesus.
person.
I know you're a God person. They
Yeah,
used
the
to
what
have
would
the
Jesus
what would
do?
Jesus do bracelets, right? So that's where I got this from.
Yeah.
So for my live event, I was like, I want to get the what would abundance do bracelets for everybody so they can wear it and ask themselves all day, what would abundance be doing right now? And it is literally the abundance game. Like it is such an equalizer for the flow of money, and not even just money, the flow of abundance, which sometimes is money. Right? Because it can be other things too. But literally teaching people to play this game with themselves and sticking with it, because it's gonna feel uncomfortable at first, y'all. It's gonna feel weird. It's not gonna feel safe because it goes against everything you were taught to believe to be true about money.
Yes, it does. And so your nervous system will, first of all, it's like, we can do it in small, doable ways, though, so that it's not, because what I don't love historically in this industry is this whole like, feel the fear and do it anyway, push through all boundaries, life is, everything you want is outside your comfort zone. I mean, that's true that
That's true.
everything you want is outside your comfort zone,
Yep.
but we don't need to live in a constant state of fear in order to have what we want. And if we do, we actually, it's like an elastic band. Like we may stretch way out of our comfort zone, but if we do it through fear and pushing, we will snap way
We'll
back.
snap right back.
And it will not be sustainable. And we've seen this with people who come into tons of money, and then within a few years, they are dead broke or worse off than before because they did not have the energetic and somatic infrastructure to hold that expansion. Just like you said with this potential client you were talking to, the money's right outside you, but you don't have the capacity inside to let it in.
Yeah.
We work with our bodies, just like you did with this client with the EFT. We work with our bodies to build the capacity. The mistake that most people are making is they're working exclusively, well, the vast majority, the muggles are just like, it's just not in the bank.
Right.
But then there's like another group that understands that there's something more to it. Thoughts and beliefs. Wonderful. So then they work on the level of the mind. But what is totally misunderstood is that scientifically, 80% of the information between the brain and the body is traveling from the body to the brain.
Right.
Only
And not from the
20%
brain,
is going brain to the body. So if you're only working on mindset, you are missing 80% of your power. And and that is why we have been talked out of our bodies. That is why I read these books that say transcend the body. That's leftover cultural and religious conditioning that has told us that our bodies are wrong or dirty, especially women. But it is because we've been conditioned to believe that our greatest source of power is wrong or dirty. And that's on purpose, people who have wanted to divorce us from our greatest power source.
Absolutely.
But if we plug back in, everything honestly just gets easier.
It does.
It feels edgy, but it does get easier.
It does get easier. Oh my God. Like there's so many things I want to say right now, because I feel like everybody who landed on this episode just learned or just got the keys to the castle. And the question is, are you going to take the key and insert it into the lock and open the door to everything that you ever desired and questioned if you deserve to experience? Or are you going to just jingle the key in your hand in nervous energy because you're afraid of what might be on the other side of the door? But literally in this moment, this is what changed the game for me. And it's so interesting, Kate, because you can't tell this to everybody. Because most people don't get it. Like they don't get it and they just think you smoke crack. Like it's just like, she's crazy. Like, I mean, I literally have heard this from people. They're like, Darnyelle, I don't know why you're telling people that stuff doesn't work. And I'm like, you're making it so hard. And it was designed to be relatively easy. Relatively easy.
Relatively easy. I love that.
Because it requires you to keep getting outside of your head.
It does. And our heads are very seductive. The mind is very seductive. The meaning-making machine is seductive because it's enticing and it's a land of illusions. It's a land of illusions. But the body does not lie. And the body is always keeping all the memories and all the information. It does. And really can unlock. And, you mentioned that some of our money patterns aren't even our own. And that ancestral piece, I think, is so powerful. When we look at the world of epigenetics, we really begin to understand that actually we carry in our DNA the traumas of our grandparents and our great-grandparents and our great-great-grandparents and their joys as well.
Yes.
And we get to be the one where it stops with us, where we are literally healing 7 generations back and 7 generations forward because of the way all bodies are connected in lineage.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It is really cool. It is really cool. And I know that there are people that are listening right now, and I'm just gonna invite you to resist the urge to denounce what we are sharing with you because it feels unfamiliar. I'm gonna invite you, I'm gonna say it one more time, to resist the urge to denounce what we are saying because it sounds unfamiliar. Just because you don't believe it and you don't have a place to hold it in this moment doesn't make it true. And I'm going to say this, especially for those of you who listen to this show that are believers, because I know that there's some Christians right now, Kate, they are freaking out. They have called me all the things in this moment. And I just want to invite you to consider that part of the reason why the Bible talks about money, wealth, and possessions 2,300 times is because you are supposed to master it. And I want to invite you to consider that understanding the significance of the role that your body plays and getting into alignment so that you can be complete flow for whatever it is that you desire to experience is part of the power that you have been given. I think that is the secret. Right? Like we know the secret that, but I think that that is the secret. And I loved how you just broke it down that 80% of the work that really shifts and changes our paradigms, it starts in the body and then it travels to the brain. And only 20% starts in the brain and travels to the body. And so while mindset is important, and I mean, I have for years have said mindset is 95% of your success, right? Right? Only 5% is skill. And I don't think that that isn't true. But I want to alter that statement to an extent because I feel like mindset by itself is pretty ineffectual. It is only the mind body connection, which again, the Bible talks about mind, body, and spirit. It is only the mind body connection together that really opens up. I'm going to keep saying opens up in capacity because that is the issue you have. If you are listening to this podcast right now and you know that you were made to make millions of dollars, to generate millions of dollars, to sell millions of dollars, to profit millions of dollars, and eventually leave millions of dollars, and it is not yet flowing in your life experience, it is because you have not made the decision to allow your body and the embodiment thereof of what it is that you most desire to become true for you at the source of the way that you feel. The end. Your feelings and beliefs govern the words you speak, the actions you take, and the results that you get. So how, Kate, do we start to shift our feelings? Like, do we have some practical 1, 2, 3 we could tell people?
Absolutely. So I'm just going to give you a list. The cool thing is that humans have been gravitating towards nervous system healing activities for thousands and thousands of years. They are the bedrock of original society. Chanting, dancing, circling, community, being in nature. Every single one of those things is fundamentally regulating to the nervous system, meaning it does 2 things. Number 1, it metabolizes past stress. Number 2, it signals to the body that the threat has passed and you are safe now. So when we go to one of your live events, it is a deeply regulating experience. When we pray together in church, when we go to a yoga class and do the chants, when we go dancing, when we dance around a fire, there's this is when we go outside, take off our shoes, put our bare feet on the earth.
Or
every single one of those.
Even when we are listening to the ocean.
Oh, for sure.
Like
anything,
any of that grounding in nature.
any of that grounding in nature, a sensory experience. So
Mhm.
anything that is a sensory experience where you are fully present to your senses.
Mhm.
Now, I love like a simple practice that I'll just give you right now, which is when we breathe specifically into our lower back ribs. So when you breathe and you consciously bring the breath into your lower back ribs,
Mhm.
it will put you more in a parasympathetic regulated state.
Mhm.
I love that one because we have to breathe anyway.
And lower back is the financial traumas.
Yes, it is. So
So
it
like really, oh,
unravels.
right. It really opens you up,
Mhm.
expands your
And
capacity.
breath is life force. Breath is
Yes.
spirit,
Yes.
right? In spirit, whatever the Latin is in spiritus or whatever. It's like,
Inspiritas, I think.
thank you.
Yes.
Yes. So it is bringing spirit to that area of the
Yeah.
body. So all of these things, you just want to incorporate them into your daily life, and the intentionality around them really does make a difference. The data really shows us that our intention does amplify the result of
Mhm.
anything we're doing. So if you're just doing 5 to 8 breaths into your lower back ribs and you're intentionally saying, this breath is expanding my capacity to receive wealth, it will
Mm.
work better.
Here's the thing that I love, and I don't know that you know this. So I have a new program that I started this year. It's called Ascend. It was a download from God. It's the whole point of the program is we're doing the soul work before we do the strategy work,
Love.
right? And so we kicked it off with a 3-day soul and strategy retreat. 2 days of soul, 1 day of strategy. And I brought in one of my clients who is a certified breathwork practitioner. And we breathed for like 45 minutes straight. Kate, I don't know your middle name, but if I knew your middle name, honey, I would be saying your full government name right now. We breathed in for 45 minutes. And when we were done, I felt like I was a superhero who had the power in the tip of my fingers. And if I would have just done like this, I would have knocked the building down. It was amazing. I've done breath work. I have never done it for 45 minutes. Typically, this is a story I think I tell myself is my brain doesn't quiet that long. But for 45 minutes, all I focused on was breathing in with intention and speaking over myself what I most desire to bring in my life experience. And when we were done, it was the most amazing. We did that on day 1, and day 2 I taught them tapping.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And the results that they are experiencing just from those 3 days together, phenomenal. Like
Because you went into the body.
as we went into the body. Like, and I'll be honest with you, Kate, like some of this stuff I know, but I didn't know it like you're breaking it down right now. And this happens to me a lot where I will have done something without realizing the true power of it and be like, "Oh my gosh." So like I'm having all kinds of moments right now because I'm like, I did some of this stuff without knowing these are the things that we should do. So like even with chanting, in a real practical example, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is like reciting affirmations over yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because anything vocal
Mhm.
is, if you are doing some, not just like regular talking, but
Mhm.
like if you are on purpose reciting affirmations, if you are toning, if
Mhm.
you are praying, if
Mhm.
you are chanting, if you are singing,
Mhm.
it activates and tones the vagus nerve, which is the crux of the nervous system. And it is an
Mhm.
integral part of activating rest and digest. Because think about it, if you have capacity to sing, you're safe. Like you're
Mhm.
not getting chased by a bear if you're singing.
Right.
And it tells the body we're safe. And then when you combine that with spoken affirmation, because words do have an energetic imprint,
Mhm.
when you combine that, then the energy of the words is going in to a nervous system that's available to receive. It
Ah.
says like, oh, this is safe, right?
Mhm.
Like I am wealthy. I am powerful. And if you can activate a rest and digest space in your body will receive it and believe it. The problem with affirmations done when we don't feel safe is that the body smells the lie.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like,
And it rejects
yes,
it.
that's not true. It rejects
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But if we can get into a place of flow and in almost in a theta brainwave state where we're like, maybe I said that one wrong. Is it theta or beta?
I
Anyway,
think it is theta.
yeah, I think it's theta, where we're already a little bit like in a trance. They'll
Yeah.
just go right in there into the unconscious, which
Yeah.
is the nervous system.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay, so you said praying, singing, chanting, dancing, circling, being in community, and being in nature. Any of those
Yes.
things regulate our nervous
Yes.
system.
And any kind of movement, really.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I say all the time is move your body. Make sure
Just
you're
move
up
your
and
body.
moving every day, up and move. And when we do those things, it metabolizes past stress and it signals the body that the threat has passed and we are safe so that we can feel pleasure around what we desire. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you can't get to pleasure, like if the word pleasure just like short circuits you, that's totally fine. Skip it. Safety is a wonderful place to start. Like,
Yeah.
can I feel safe in my body? That is your portal to abundance.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And then you'll start feeling pleasure by accident.
That's so good. I'm writing this down. So the portal to abundance, just in case y'all missed it, let me dial it back, is asking yourself the question, can I feel safe in my body?
How can I feel safe in my body right now?
How can I feel safe in my body right now? And how will I know I feel safe in my body? Is there anything that in case a person can't figure out what that feels like?
Yeah, so there's like a physiological response. So what will happen is when I do a nervous system healing practice, I'll just like your peripheral vision widens. So you suddenly actually have a wider expansive view. Our tone of our voice will actually naturally lower. We will start to speak slower. Our breath suddenly becomes deeper and slower. There's just more space for breath. And it almost feels like time slows down in a good way. So those are some of the physiological signs that you have moved into parasympathetic. It's, if you've ever been to a fancy restaurant and you're not supposed to do this, but I like to do it anyway. I like get my finger wet and I start running it around the side of a crystal glass. It's like that feeling energetically in your body. It's that amazing crystal ring.
Nice. Or I was just thinking that it's like how you feel when you have an orgasm.
Yes. Now, an orgasm is like this on steroids, and orgasms are actually very regulating to the nervous system.
Yeah.
So if you can access an orgasm, that release of oxytocin, of nitric oxide, of all the physiology, it's incredible for your nervous system.
Yeah. So. That's good. I love it. This has been amazing. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that we should tell them before we call this an episode? Okay.
There's one last thing.
Okay.
And this is just a piece that I think it's really helpful to understand consciously. Everything we're talking about, changing your behavior so you can change your reality around money, is based on learning either thinking a new way, embedding a new belief, or learning a new skill set.
Okay.
All of that is based on our neural patterning. So all the nerves and the wiring that basically makes up our body. It's like our body's electrical is the nervous system. Okay. It's important to understand that rewiring your neural pathways is actually expensive energetically, meaning it literally just takes calories. And so your body is like your survival wiring is like, don't do that. Don't learn a new skill. Don't think a new thought. Don't do a new behavior. Don't learn something new. No more new neural pathways. It's expensive. I need those calories for basic survival.
Yeah.
So just getting that is important because that's where our limiting beliefs and our limiting thoughts come from. That's where our brain fog, our resistance, our overwhelm, our procrastination, all of that is just your sweet little nervous system being like, ooh, too expensive to rewire. We're not going to do that. So it sends out all these preventative strategies to keep you from changing.
Mm.
But when you actively engage in the things we talked about
Mhm.
that metabolize stress,
Mhm.
they dump your stress and threat bucket, they metabolize past stress, and they signal to your body, I'm safe, all is well. That increases your capacity. And then when at one of Darnyelle's events or reading her book or out there learning a new strategy, then your nervous system is like, oh, actually, we do have capacity. Actually,
Mhm.
we do have those extra reserves to
Yeah.
spend the energy, to invest the energy, those calories, to
Mhm.
rewire our neural pathways. And once you rewire those neural pathways, you don't have to just like keep that, you don't have to keep trying to be a new way. You
Yeah.
just already are it.
Yeah.
So I just think that that understanding piece about what's actually happening in your body is helpful.
So important. So important. This has been amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, before I can let you go, I got to ask you our three closing questions. What is the book? What is the quote? What is the tool that has made a difference on your own journey to and beyond the $1 million mark?
One of the most powerful books I've ever read is by Adrienne Marie Brown. It's called Emergent Strategy. And
Okay.
in that book, I read the quote, what is easy is sustainable. Birds coast when they can.
Ooh. Oh,
Uh-huh.
that is so
Which
good.
is really what we're talking about because the
Yeah.
tool is nervous system healing.
Mhm.
The tool is signaling to our body that we are safe
Mhm.
so that we can coast and allow things to be as easy as possible.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm writing down healing. This is so good. We're going to make sure we put all of your details in the show notes so people can find you, they can follow you, they can learn about your events that you do, your program, all the things. We're going to make sure that they know because the work that you do and the way that you support people, it's just phenomenal. And more people need to know about it. Like, it's just phenomenal.
Thank you,
It's
Darnyelle.
phenomenal. This has been great, y'all. Hope y'all have had as much fun as we have. And to demonstrate that you've had fun, there are two things I want you to do. Number one, I want you to take a screenshot of however you're listening to this episode and tag me and Kate in a story so that we can know that you got it and you are working on it. And the second thing we want you to do is we want you to move your body. Get up right now and move around. Just move your body. Just move your body. Just dance to music, dance to the music in your head. Just give your body and your nervous system permission to feel safe so that you can create space and capacity for the millions that are your birthright to flow into your life experience. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.